Motion capture is a process where we capture the movements of a real human being and incorporate them onto a 3D character model for the game. Is we take an actor and we put him into a suit that has markers at different points of the body. And they have cameras surrounding a stage floor, and the actor will take direction from, in this case, me. I'm the director for motion capture, and we have him perform the moves that what we want the character to do in the game. And the cameras pick up those motions, send the information into a computer, and we can pull that data out and apply it to whatever character we want. We can use the same actor to be a dwarf, or for an elf, or for a mountain giant. So one of the units that we used motion capture for this time around was the mountain giant. And the actor we used is a guy named Paul Lazenby, and he's the kickboxing champion of Canada. So he was a really big, tough guy, and so we said this guy's perfect to be our mountain giant. And some of the stuff that went on the studio was great. I had a lot of fun working with him as a director and getting him to get into the role of the mountain giant. So when we got early on shooting his moves, we had him, punching at the air and doing the moves we wanted him to do, but it wasn't giving us the impact we wanted. So we got guys come out with big pads to give him targets so we could see that motion of him impacting with something. So we had this kickboxing champion from Canada and, these motion capture computer geek guys with with pads, and they're flying all over the studio while this guy's crashing into him. We even had one of our own producers get up there with the pad, and he got knocked around quite a bit, but it was a lot of fun, and we got some really cool motions out of that. Afterwards, after we got the data back, I got to go into there with the motion capture data that we had and animate his fingers and his jaw. So we still get to add on some fun animation on top of what we get from the motion capture. My name is Adam McCarthy. I am the lead animator on the Red Alert 3 team. So this is the Tesla Trooper's walk cycle. Since it's a guy in a big heavy suit, I wanted to give a fair amount of weight to him, so you see he moves fairly slowly and he stomps his feet down. It's not like a regular human walking. I try to put a bit of character into each guy that I'm working on. Every object that has to be animated in a game has to have a skeleton, and this is what we manipulate to make the character move around. So everything in animation has to do with what an object does over time, right? So since this guy's wearing heavy armor, I have him moving fairly slowly. Hi, my name is Adam McCarthy. I was the animation lead on Command & Conquer 3, and I'm currently working on Red Alert 3. So I'm responsible for pretty much all the animation that goes into the game. So I work closely with the designers and the producers and the art director to identify all the animations that are going to be needed in the game to make the gameplay fun and work visually well with the rest of the game. What I usually do is I'll do what I call the basic set of animations for each unit. And for me, a basic set is a selected idle, a deselected idle, transitions in and out of those, move, death, and attack. That's the absolute basic list. For example, on the Soviet side of Red Alert 3, we have the Sickle, which is like a robotic spider, and he was one of my favorite ones to work on so far for Red Alert 3, because he has a lot of personality. He's kind of like, we kind of treated it like sort of like one of these custom cars you see nowadays that have like a lot of hydraulics in them, like when you see them bouncing their cars up and down and stuff like that, like the lowriders. So we tried to think of the Sickle as like a lowrider, so he sort of moves jerky, like he's got kind of low-tech hydraulics involved in moving him around. So that was one of the ways that me as an animator could put my input. I took a look at the model and said, hey, this thing looks like it probably has rusty old hydraulics on it. Let's make it move like that. The most limiting factor for animators, it would be gameplay. There's definitely technical limitations by the game engine, but as animators, we always like to make the characters very alive, and it's really hard to make a character seem really alive when it needs to be able to respond really quickly to the game player. So we may do this really long, drawn-out, fun, cool animation, and then the engineers come back to us and go, that has to happen in half a second. It can't take 5 seconds for him to do it because it slows down the gameplay. In the end, that's the most important thing, of course, is the gameplay. Animation is basically it's acting. It's knowing how to take your character and making the person who's looking at it believe that it is alive, that it's moving. So I get my skills by watching other animated films, animated games, watching just real life, just watching people move around is really important. As far as the technical side, what program you want to use doesn't really matter. It's the skill set that really matters. So if you get your hands on any 3D software and you learn how to animate in one piece of software, it won't take you long to learn it in another one. When things get tough, when things get really busy and I get a little bit stressed out, I just have to sit back and remind myself how lucky I am to have this kind of a career, because it's just so much fun. It's a lot of hard work. There's a lot to be done, and there's high stress. There's times where we're just exhausted, but we have to keep going to finish the game. If you want to get into this kind of thing, be prepared to work hard, but you'll have a lot of fun doing it.